Welcome, everybody, to the PHDJ podcast. My name is Mike.
Yes, sir. It's Joe Bunn.
What is going on, Joe? How are you?
What's going on with you? I know there was a party I missed.
Do I look a little sleepy? Do I look a little? I shouldn't say hungover because I only had 2 beers throughout the whole night. But it was a late night. Yeah, we drove up to Danbury, Connecticut.
How far from you?
It was 2.5 hours to get up, and then 2 hours to get back. So I was surprised. We left here at 5. I didn't know what we would hit as far as traffic going up, and it was only an extra half hour. But George, you know my friend George Panzita.
I love George.
He met Kelly and I at our house, and we drove up together. And
nice.
And so on the way up, it's funny. George and I both had this independent idea. You know, the whole thing was that Big Daddy hosts karaoke on Tuesday night, so a bunch of us were going to surprise him.
Yeah, for his
65th birthday.
That's right.
As he says, it's time for Medicare now because he's old enough. So I had thought about changing lyrics to a song and doing a but I couldn't come up with it. The only thing I was thinking was the Partridge Family song. I think I love Big Daddy loves you, but I couldn't come up with anything else. So George shows up at my house and he goes, Mike, I have this idea. And he had the same idea. His idea was, I saw her standing there because the opening line, well, he was just 65.
Oh.
And so the whole drive up, or probably it took us about half the drive up, and it made the drive go by like this. So the three of us, Kelly, myself, and George, are working on lyrics. We're starting and stopping the song. We're trying to figure like a placeholder. Okay, what can we sing over that? And we came up with lyrics for the whole song.
Oh, man.
And then they had set up a Facebook page, you know, like a surprise Facebook page.
Yeah.
I didn't know about. So I posted the lyrics there. So before we sang, I told everybody, hey, if you want to jump on the Facebook page, you can sing along. And it really came out. I was really happy with it. It came out really good.
Oh, man.
I know there's some Facebook Live videos if you can check them out. But yeah, it was super. And Big Daddy was surprised.
He loved it. Yeah.
Great. Dude, Mitch Taylor flew in all the way from
Michigan. That's amazing.
I mean, I thought James drove up from Maryland, so he had like an extra hour and a half drive than we had.
Yeah.
Adam and his guy Brian came across from Albany. It was really cool to see, and everybody was there just to wish a very dear friend of ours a happy birthday. So it was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And by the way, shout out to DJ Johnny Mac, who. He told me I had only met him one time under much sadder conditions. I had gone up for Big Daddy's mom's funeral last year, and I met him then. But he is a huge fan, Joe, and could not have been. He was chewing my ear off all night about how much he loves this podcast and how much he's learned from it. He's a younger guy, and he was I want to thank you and Joe and how much you've done for me in the industry and blah, blah, blah. So thank you, Johnny, for the words, man. You really made our night, and I wanted to share that with you.
Appreciate that, Johnny Mac.
Yep.
Well, so you and I were talking a little bit the other day, and I think I knew you were doing this, but it's ready. So the What Makes People Dance is coming to what?
Yeah, so the
theater
seminar,
near you.
I tried to sell it to Netflix, and they weren't interested in streaming it. But
starring Ryan Reynolds as you.
Yes, that would be that'd be a bit of a stretch, but yeah, I'll take that. Yes, I'm now making the video of my seminar, Why People Dance, available. For the low price of $29.99, you can get that 90-minute seminar, which you saw. Would you?
I didn't see it once. I sat through it, I think, 2.5 times.
Right. That's right, because you were in AC too. That's right. Yeah.
Yes, 100% worth every bit of $30. There's definitely 1, it's history. 2, it's takeaway. 3, it's psychology. It's like I don't know. Great seminar. One of your best.
Cool.
One of your best.
Thank you. And I think if nothing else, even if you saw it like Joe did, if you were in Las Vegas or if you were at DJ Times, whatever, I think, there were so many stats that I put up there. And and I'm sure you feel this way too, as a public speaker, you've struck when you see all the hands go up and people start taking pictures of the screen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And so and what I did when I edited the video was, first of all, anything like that, I put on the full screen. You're not looking at me anymore. You're putting so that'll be on the full screen. And sometimes I even paused it so you can, watch watch it, look at the screen. Some of the song lists I held up for a little bit longer, so you can.
So, Mike, did you go in a studio and re-record this?
No,
this was a live.
This was in Atlantic City when I presented it. Tom and Chris Monaco. It was a 2-camera shoot. They had me with live, audio. They put a lav on me. And so it's very professionally done. It's not like a camera in the back of the room that you're barely going to be able to understand. The audio is super good. The video is I'm really happy with a 2-camera shoot and everything else. So I think it's very professionally done, and I hope people check it out. So if you want to head to my website, DJ Mike Walter, just click on Why People Dance tab, and if you've got a PayPal account, you can purchase it for low price of $29.99. Thank you.
Steal. And I'll definitely be posting that in the for any of you guys that listen that are Vault members, I'll be posting it in the members only group as well. So
very cool. So I had a weird idea. I don't think we've ever done this. We've sort of done this like every once in a while organically if something happened over the weekend. And when we had Dave Lander on, basically the whole episode was kind of a war story. But I've always said one of the great things about owning a multi-op is chatting with your DJs on Monday morning and finding out all the crazy, wild, wacky stuff, good, bad, and everything in between that happened on the weekend. So I just thought, Joe, do you have any, and not just from this past weekend, maybe just anything that has happened in 2019, any quick story? Let's see if we can jam a couple of stories into this half hour. And if there's a takeaway from it, great. If not, just what's the fun thing that happened, or not so fun, or tragic?
Yeah. I would say, I think the parties kind of run together sometimes, unless something really either tragic, so-and-so has a heart attack, or, breaks an ankle and an ambulance has to come. They kind of run together. I mean, they're a lot of fun. Somebody's going to rip their pants. Somebody's going to do the worm. For me, as soon as you mentioned that this was a topic, I thought of 2 instances this year, which, when you do hundreds of shows a year, it's very rare not to get some sort of complaint. But there were 2 this year that I distinctly remember, and one of them was me, and it was recently, and I don't think I've shared it yet.
Wow, Joe, I was gonna say all right.
I made, in fact, that weekend, I don't know what was wrong. I made 2 mistakes. The Friday night event was a charity event, and I stopped playing early. I thought
it was over at 10 and it was over at 11.
I thought it was over at 10:30.
Wow.
And I played to 10:45 and thought I was like hooking them up. There was a few people dancing.
Hey man, I'm giving these guys a bonus. And then at 10:45, they're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I was like,
wow.
I quit. I got the date. I got the time for the next night confused with that night.
In your head. Okay. So then wait, did somebody tell you and you started back up, or you didn't realize until the next day?
I mean, I was like wrapping cables, and a lady came up and she was kind of inebriated, and she was like, it goes to 11. I was like, nah, I thought she was drunk.
Right.
But it made me pause enough to pull out my phone and pull up the show. I was like, oh shit. I just quit 15 minutes early. And listen, now let me preface this by saying there were 15 people left at this event.
Right.
Like it was and
it wasn't a wedding or something like that.
No,
but still,
it was
that is kind of weird.
Yeah. And
you don't smoke pot, right?
No, I do not smoke. I do not smoke or drink.
Right, or drink. Yeah.
So the next night is much worse. I guess everything was great. The wedding had been good. The father of the bride had been very specific down to the order of songs for dinner music, but did not really care about the dancing music. I had very little interaction with the bride and groom.
Hang on, let me just interrupt for a second. So
Go
how
ahead.
do you know the father of the bride?
Oh,
father of the bride?
No, he called me for
contact?
75 minutes one night,
okay.
and only talked about the dinner music.
Wow.
75 minutes.
So he spoke to you longer than dinner was going to run. He spoke to you about dinner music for longer than dinner was going to run.
Yes, and provided much more music than possibly could ever be.
I dated a girl once who used to recap a movie. Like she would tell me, and it would take her. I would say to her, I could watch the movie in shorter time than it's taking you to recap this movie. But
I hate a long story.
I know.
Everything's fine. Introductions, great. First dance, all the special moments. And the dance floor opens. And Mike, I guess I played, I went back and looked. I played 6 songs. And on the 6th song, the bride walks up to me and goes, isn't this on the Do Not playlist? And, I got my iPad over here with her playlist. She had done a playlist on DJ Event Planner. And I go, no, it's on the Must playlist. And she goes, I don't think that's my list. And I'm like,
the wrong night.
and I go, you know, are you sure you didn't give somebody else your login? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no. I said, listen, I mean, this is like, there's dancing. It's loud. I'm like, go dance. I'll figure this out. Dude, sure enough, I had prepped I had pulled the 16th and her wedding was on the 9th. Now, to be fair, 3 of the 6 songs were on the must play. The 3 that I didn't play were not good songs, but they were not on the do not play. But she was so tuned in to what her list was.
Right. She knew they weren't on her must play.
And so I had to own it. I just owned it. I didn't own it. I played it off on a fake assistant. I said, my assistant loaded the wrong playlist. Everything's fine. And from that second on, again, 6 songs to 40 more later, rocked it, straight from the playlist. Didn't deviate. Boom, boom, boom. But sure enough, man, after 2.5 weeks.
So can I play armchair psychologist here?
Sure.
Were these fairly recently?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, you are overwhelmed with everything you're doing.
Yeah.
You're overworked. And,
true. It was before the collective. It was the day before the collective.
Right. Because you got the vault going. Dude, I marvel at how much content you're putting out for the vault. Because I know something about shooting video and I know something about organizing people and things like that. And the amount of time that you must be putting in. And I think, unfortunately, those 2 events suffered a little bit, or
they did,
So
And the fast forward 2.5 weeks, I guess it was eating at her because she wanted some money back. So I wrote her a check.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. I bet it's probably been 10 or 12 years, Mike, since I've had to write a check. And it was because of
one of your own events?
For one of my own. No, for one of my own. And it was bad audio at a ceremony.
Yeah.
It was bad audio. But
so I have
screwed up.
It's funny, I have a father of the bride story too.
Mm-hmm. We're all human, by the way.
I'm hoping you or one of our listeners can give me a takeaway and how you might have handled it differently. I had a wedding recently. Open up the dance floor opening set is pretty good. It's not, 150 people. It's not like every one of them is on the dance floor, but probably 100 out of the 150 are on the dance floor.
That's rocking.
The father of the bride comes up to me and he goes, you got to get these people up. I actually thought he was joking at first. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, no, you have to get these people up. And I go, sir, people are dancing. And he points to the people that are sitting, not everybody. So I'm like, sir, I'm doing my best here. And he's like, no, you got to go table to table and pull people up.
Oh,
so I literally almost start getting into my seminar. I said, sir, some people don't. I'm literally trying to get into the whole sitters and fence. You know what I mean? I'm like, sir, not everybody wants to dance. Those people. He literally took me off my game. I started programming. Now, if this had been anybody else, I would have been like, go sit down. But it's the father of the bride. I mean, I had not met him until that day. But to me, the father of the bride has important,
he does.
And so I literally started programming the night like it was the last hour instead of the first hour.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, you got to pull people up. I said, sir, I don't physically touch people, but I did start going table to table and just saying, hey, come on, we want you. And they're looking at me like,
with your mic or just like,
no, just off microphone. Just trying. And I like at the end of and he did this a couple of times throughout the night.
Damn.
I got to the point, Joe, where I didn't want to look like when I scanned the room, I would skip over him because I didn't want to see what kind of facial expression he was giving me.
Was he even dancing?
You know what's funny? We were looking at that, my assistant and I, sometimes, but not all. And the funny thing was his wife danced the entire night. She was, and I'm thinking, why doesn't this guy stop worrying about the people who aren't dancing and start having a good time at his own daughter's wedding?
Yeah.
It was the weirdest, most off-putting thing. And I don't know how, even weeks later, I've thought about it. I'm like, I don't know how better I could have handled that.
Sure.
But I did. I got to be honest. I let it affect me in my programming, which I'm not happy with. I wish I hadn't, but I don't know what else I could have done.
I mean, I think we all look back. I think what this girl was saying in her email to me 2.5 weeks later is I made her feel crazy, is what she wrote. And I said, all I was trying to do was fix it as fast as I could. I owned it.
But listen, I get
why she was upset.
I understand why you were honest about it, but I think you can imagine what a bride must feel when she's told by her DJ, sorry, I was looking at somebody else's wedding.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of harkens back to many years ago when Facebook was first a thing.
Yeah.
On a Friday morning going into a busy weekend, I'm like, I'm so psyched. Elite Entertainment has 38 events this weekend or whatever. And remember Vinny Velasquez? Not remember, like he's passed on or anything, but Vinny and I used to do a podcast.
I remember.
And Vinny reached out to me and he said, you know, Mike, you might want to rethink that. He said, if you were a bride and you were one of those 38, how would you feel about, so I'm one of 30, so I have 1/38 of your attention this weekend? And it was an eye-opening moment for me. And if you notice, I don't brag about numbers like that on Facebook because
I do.
I'm keen to the fact that, you know, if there's an Elite Entertainment bride, she doesn't want to know that she's one of 38. So I think you probably told that bride by basically telling her, hey, I'm sorry, I was looking at somebody else's wedding, that, you're just one of a number of Bunn weddings. So I don't know. So you don't have any happy ones? I'll give you two.
Go
and
ahead.
ironically, they're both from the same wedding. And it is this past weekend. I had a great wedding on Saturday night. First of all, they had the snow machines from us. Do you have snow machines?
No,
yeah, you saw the pictures, right? And
we'll talk about that in the next episode, by the way.
Shout out to the photographer I was working with, because it wasn't an elite photographer.
Yeah.
So I tried to get some pictures of the snow. So if you're listening to this and you're not familiar, we have these snow machines. The bride and groom wanted them. Their whole wedding was Winter Wonderland was the theme.
Yeah.
Their hashtag was Snow in Love. So this was really, ironically enough, they were going to Iceland on their honeymoon.
Wow.
Which when I found that out, I sent them a bunch of recommendations.
Yeah.
You know, they were thrilled to find out. So anyway, did the snow for the first dance, and the photographer, I got shitty pictures on my iPhone, but the photographer was showing me during dinner, and I was like, oh man, those are really cool. And he even said, he goes, do you want them? And I'm like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I give him my business card. I go, if you could just email them to me. He goes, I'll text them to you right now.
Jeez.
And literally that night, I got a text message with 4 like high res.
Dude, that is the most rare thing I've ever heard.
I sent them a note through, and we connected on Instagram. I sent them a note. Now, like, Lamar, that was so badass, cool. You know, anything I can do. I said, look, I own a photography studio, but I will be happy to recommend you and everything else. So anyway, so we did the snow for the first dance, and then we had more than enough juice left. So I asked them during dinner, I said, do you want another blast of snow? And they said, yeah, sure. I said, well, listen, I know they wanted to end the night with Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton. I'm not a fan of ending with a slow song, but okay. I said, why don't we save it for the end of the night? We'll have a slow song with the packed dance floor. They go, great, thumbs up. So halfway through Wonderful Tonight, we blast the snow again. Now the whole crowd is like, because then they clear the middle of the circle, and the bride and groom lay down and start doing Snow Angels.
No.
Dude, I was scrambling to get it. Now, by this point, the photo and video had left, so they didn't get it.
Oh, no.
Which I was saying to my assistant, see, this is why they both were gone like with the last hour.
Right.
So I was like, this is why you keep photo and video to the end, because what a magical, and I'm sure their guests got pictures of it.
Yeah.
Bride and groom doing Snow Angels in the middle of the dance floor. I was like, that's one of the
You could have ended the whole video like that. You know what I mean? Like a shot, like one of those stick things held over the crowd, just or over them, you know.
Right.
Wow, man.
I actually have 2 other stories from this wedding. This is how much fun this wedding was. So they had said to me in the review, they said, have you ever rickrolled a crowd? Did you ever rickroll a crowd?
No,
do you know what rickrolling is?
Yeah. With the drink.
So no, with what's the Rick Astley song?
Never gonna give you up. Right.
Remember, like for a while, that was a thing on the internet where
right.
if you just clicked on a link, you thought it was something else, and then it just went to that video. So I said, no, I never had. They were like, well, our friends, it's like kind of an inside joke. So if you would rickroll us at some point, I said, I'm on it. So I'm thinking, like, what would be a good time to rickroll them?
Sure.
And they had let me clear my throat on their request list.
Okay.
Which has that, freeze.
Yeah. Right.
So I waited till that moment. Freeze. Never gonna give you up. And dude, the place just blew up. And people were like leaning over my facade, high-fiving me. And I was like, man, that was pretty pretty cool.
The best part is they didn't even know themselves when it was
they
coming.
didn't know.
Yeah,
they knew. And I don't even know if they remembered that they told me.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, they were all. It was a cool moment. Yeah,
that's epic.
I was super happy with that. And then so I end the night with Wonderful Tonight. And so this was this past weekend, which is Thanksgiving weekend. So it was November 30th. So basically the holidays are
no shows this past weekend.
The holidays are now. I had a wedding Friday and Saturday this past weekend, not to brag. But so end the night. And because I'm ending with a slow song, I wasn't expecting a one more song chant. But they start singing. Now, again, we've just blasted them with Snow, and they start singing, "It's beginning to look a lot like Chris." So with Serato, I just boom, 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 searched for that song, found it, threw it on. And before they were even finished singing it, that song came in.
Damn.
And again, I just got that like, and they just sang the whole, and the maitre d' came up to me and he goes, "Really, you're gonna do another song?" I go, "Bobby, I showed him, I go, "It's 2 minutes, dude, relax." I go, "Turn the lights on, start packing up." But and they weren't even going crazy because that's just like a mellow Christmas song. But that was another one of those moments I was like, yes, I pulled that off.
Serato saved you.
Yes.
Can you imagine turning around and shuffling through your albums?
Right. Back in the well, you know what's funny? Back in the day of albums and even CDs, I had like this many Christmas CDs.
Yeah.
But I don't even think I would put them in my CD collection until my first holiday gig.
Me neither.
So I might not have even had my first holiday party is tomorrow night. So I don't even know if I would have had that music. But now with a hard drive, why would you? I just have a crate of Christmas music that I shove down on the bottom of my crates. And then this time of year, I bring it up. But yeah, that was one of those moments. Thank you, Serato. Thank you for, the quick search feature. And I had that on instantaneously. So
Serato gods. Serato gods.
Yeah.
No, I guess mine the very following weekend, just a different kind of party altogether. Bride was, in fact, she looked like Captain Marvel. The girl that plays Captain Marvel. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen that, the new Avengers.
I'm not
anyway,
superhero.
She's female. It's a female superhero. Anyway, I'm a superhero fan. She looked like Captain Marvel. Super cute. Just super enigmatic and just all over the room. Dance. And I happened to have a kid shadowing me that night. And I look at him and I go get the CO2 cannon. He's like, "Do what?" I was like, "Here are the keys to my van. Go outside, get the CO2. And he was like, I was like, "Trust me, this is the event.
This is the
she
moment.
Didn't pay
if you're ever
for
gonna
it.
break it out.
I didn't care. Yeah, I'm like, just go get it. It's $30. Like this is the girl." And so I get it, and I put the hose on, put the gun on, and I was like, "Go grab her." And it was right at it was near the end of the night. We Found Love, which I still love to play. And I get her and I whisper in her ear. I'm like, "Hold it here and hold it here." And I was like, "Wait till the beat drops." And she's looking at me. She's going, "Now?" I'm like, "No, not now." Now. And I mean, it's going, bum. And dude, she sprays the room down, spraying everybody in the face. And then I moved to the right out of her like peripheral, but she's so like, going wild with it. She hits me.
Oh, you mentioned this already.
A foot from my face, point blank, to the point where the CO2 went up my nose and almost gave me like a buzz.
Right.
And then all of my my eyebrows, which I hardly have any, were iced over. Like she actually came over and took her thumb and went and wiped it off. And then hugged me, and I got a video clip. He missed where she blasted me, but he got where she grabbed me and was like, "I'm so sorry." I was like, "Don't even worry about it." Like that made it even better.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's very cool.
It was epic. So there's my happy story.
Nice.
I knew I had something good.
Very good. Good.
This is fun, man. Yeah, we could do this all day. And again, you start talking about your guys and all the stuff they've seen, and it's a wonderful, it's a wonderful life.
If you remember that time that you hired me to come down and consult with you, this is what, a dozen years ago now?
At least 12 years.
One of the things of advice I had for you, I remember you complaining about Mondays. You're like, "Look, man, I'm trying to get all my work done, and my DJs are coming in to pick up their paycheck, and I don't want to chew my ear off, and blah, blah, blah." And I said to you, "Joe, if I were you, I would push all that other shit to the rest of the week, and I would spend my Monday afternoons shooting the shit with your DJs and telling war stories." I said, because those are not only bonding moments,
sure, but
every once in a while you can work a takeaway in. Somebody can tell you a story, and you can maybe tell him how you might have done it differently, or what you could have done in that situation, or everyone can learn from it. So I said, and to any other multi-ops that are listening to this, I would advise you, man, if you if you cut payroll and your DJs come into the office to pick up checks
or gear or whatever, just
gear or
stop
whatever,
what you're
right?
doing. Yeah.
I would stop. And how was your weekend? Tell me about it. Anything crazy happen? Anything fun? And if you've got a story, you share. I told that Snow Angel story to like a dozen guys this weekend on Monday because I was so pumped about it. I was so awesome. That's so cool. So
it is cool.
If you're still DJing, share your stories, listen to their stories. It's a great bonding moment, but it can also be a great learning moment. So we'll leave it on that.
It's a good one, Mike.
I think it is.
Hey, thanks for listening, guys. We will be back with another episode soon.
Have a great day.
Later.